Back on the show, you know who he is, Jose Shorty Torres. He's going to be defending his flyweight title coming up here against Alberto Orellano at Titan FC 48 on February 16th. Might have butchered that. Jose, how are you?
Great, man. I'm alive. I can't complain. How about yourself?
I can't complain either. Very much alive, doing a lot of interviews today, and I'm glad to talk to you again. And I want to start first with UFC Chicago. They just announced the card. It's going to be coming up here June 9th. Now, hearing that, how much does that kind of give you a bit of a boost heading into this fight, knowing, you know, potentially a UFC contract could be in your grasp and you could fight in your hometown?
Yeah, and it's really crazy. Actually, a lot of people don't know is I was called about 3 weeks ago to fight for UFC Charlotte. And sadly, and I'm not going to name any of the guys that they offered me, but they offered me two guys, which is good news for me. Both those guys denied the fight. One of them I'm very surprised did, but both guys denied the fight. So it's either I'm injured or no one wants to fight me. So when I saw UFC Chicago, I'm like, oh man, I'm even that much pumped. You know, I'm weight cutting right now. My mood is slowly declining and kind of get a little more grumpy, but I saw UFC Chicago and it's got me a lot more motivated and ready for this fight. Like, I need to win this fight, so hopefully that could be, you know, that's a dream come true. That is my version of Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Chicago, a great sports city. Chicago, I've told you this before, one of my favorite cities, and it's certainly going to bring a good UFC event, I'm sure. But we got to talk about your last fight, man. Another impressive win, a submission victory over Gleison De Jesus at Titan FC 46. How happy were you not only to get the win, but also to, you know, get another finish?
Well, the finish definitely helps when I get a bonus for it. So it's like, yeah, but you know, it's a big thing because again, I bumped up. I fought a bigger man, and I defended a belt that I believe I rightfully deserved. And it showed that day that I can hang with the big boys, you know, whether it be flyweight or bantamweight. And Gleison De Jesus definitely had a size advantage over me. Funny is I'm actually training an American top team where he's from now, so him and I are moving around a little bit, and he's helping me out for my next fight too. So it's, you know, it was definitely a big fight, but I wasn't mentally prepared for the fight, if that makes any sense. I was too dependent and relying on UFC. I was expecting a call, was really like, oh, this fight's not going to happen. This, you know, I'm going to fight for the UFC, and it just never happened. And by the time I got to the Gleison fight, I wasn't mentally there. I mean, I was in shape, I was healthy, but mentally I just wasn't there. And I definitely, you know, it took me 3-4 rounds to really get in the groove and really start doing what I should have been doing in the first round, and I was able to get to finish because of it. But with this fight, again, with the UFC Chicago being headlined and all that stuff, it was just like, oh man, I got to do it now. I'm so much more motivated for this fight. You know, I'm fighting an opponent that, you know, Alberto Orellano, I don't know much about him. You know, no one does. And that's not because I'm trying to take a tune-up fight or I'm so close to the UFC I technically don't have to fight. I probably should be waiting instead of fighting. But, you know, for me, actually, I believe in the ranking system. Number 2, the number 3, and the number 4 guy all denied the fight. So they're all just waiting for me to get bumped up so they can all start scrambling for the belt. So Alberto Orellano was the only one brave enough to step up and take the contract. So I'm just happy that, one, I have a fight, happy that he's definitely taking the opportunity, and it's a big thing because, again, the guy has nothing to lose.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't, and obviously there's a lot on the line here for you. Now, have you had a chance to sort of assess him as an opponent, or has it been difficult, you know, finding footage on him?
I've seen 2 of his fights. One of the guys here, Juan Puerta, actually fought him and beat him. And it's more of, even when I fought Gleison or Pedro Nobra and all these other guys, I never really watched too much film. I usually watch it when I sign the contract, and then I watch it probably about a week or 2 before. I've seen it a couple times this weekend, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, I try not to stress over it. Some guys are literally breaking everything down and freaking out. Like, what if he does this? What if he does that? I mean, his fights have been months ago. You know, he definitely could have learned something new. He probably could have improved that much more. So, yeah, I just kind of take it as an overview and, you know, just keep on going from there.
And you mentioned training an American top team. What was the link there? How did you end up training there?
So Lex McMahon is a great friend of mine. He's also the COO and the matchmaker of Titan FC. And, you know, I was looking for a camp. TJ actually just had a newborn baby. Congratulations, TJ. And, you know, I knew he wasn't going to leave home. You know, that's something he's been waiting for, you know, really, really dying for a baby, and he finally has one. I doubt he's going to leave home to go to California to start training again. So I was like, all right, well, when TJ's gone, usually everyone disperses, and I need a training camp. I've been to Jackson Wink. I've been to Colorado. I've been to the training lab of California, St. Combat Academy, my home Chicago, and it's like, all right, what's next? I've always wanted to go to American Top Team, and Lex McMahon had the connection here. I thought it was going to be a little different since I fought 3 guys that are from here. But, I mean, I'm training with Barao, Formiga, Jamie Alvarez. Actually, Pantoja showed up today. So I was like, Pantoja's here. and a bunch of other small guys, 35, Pedro Munhoz and Ronnie Yaya, which is like a 4-time world jiu-jitsu champion, which I sadly didn't know anything about until I rolled with him. I was like, who the hell is this guy? But man, it's the guys here, the camaraderie. Doesn't matter if we're all going to fight each other one day. Like, everyone's helping each other out. Everyone's really cool. I just have to start learning a little more Portuguese.
Right, exactly. Yeah, to make the transition a little bit easier. Now, you're fighting at flyweight, like I mentioned. You haven't fought at flyweight since January of last year. I imagine you're calling up your buddy Lutrition and working some things out to get down to 25.
Yeah, sadly, I was actually going to have him here 2 weeks before the fight. Just certain circumstances didn't work out, and I definitely wish he was here, but he is going to be in my corner. He is going to be there fight week. And that's something, Lou is the only reason I decided to go down to flyweight. My first fight was at bantamweight. My second fight was at bantamweight. Even though I knew I was a flyweight at heart, I really didn't want to do it. I had a big struggle. I was very, very traumatized from college, making it every single weekend, burnt out, and then I got the opportunity to fight at flyweight for the vacant belt, and Nutrition, I used him twice, and I go, you know what, I trust you. So that he is the only reason. If I don't have him by my side, I really don't want to do the weight cut. So, going back down to flyweight, not the funnest thing in the world, but hey, I got to do my job, and that's what's going to be done.
Well, and I think it makes sense too, because if you're going to the UFC, I imagine you want to fight at flyweight anyways. That's where, you're still to be your best. So it's kind of nice to get this fight, sort of beforehand if the next fight for you is in the UFC at flyweight. Yeah,
and it's awesome because the funny thing is when I spar with TJ is a small bantamweight. So when I go with him, I'm like, oh yeah, I can hold my own, I can do well. He's stronger than me, but not that much. It's fine. And then I'm a two defending champ at Titan FC at bantamweight. So I'm like, all right, cool, like I can do it. But then I spar with Barao, Pedro Munhoz, and all these other guys here. I was like, man, you guys are big. Yeah. Okay, no, yeah, I'm a flyweight. It's okay, I'm a flyweight.
Yeah. Fair enough. You talked about TJ there. Obviously, the big news right now is that he's aiming for that Demetrius Johnson fight. As someone who trains with him all the time, you mentioned him being a smaller bantamweight. Do you feel confident in him making 125? Because that was one of the questions sort of heading into that.
Yeah, I do. The only problem I see with him is that he's just ripped. We saw in the Cody Garbrandt fight, he is just yoked. I mean, this guy is cut even off season. The guy automatically has a six-pack. So, he's going to have to lose some muscle, for it. Given I know he has a strength and conditioning coach, that's the reason why he moved down to California. And he looked phenomenal against Cody Garbrandt. I mean, his physique looked great, mainly the after picture of him screaming in Cody's face. So I'm excited to see him go down the flyweight. I mean, the guy's determined. He's a winner at heart, whether he's struggling or whatever the case may be. So I know he can make the division. It's just, how is he going to train and be able to perform at it? Plus, not just going your first go against some random guy, but going against a pound-for-pound guy that just doesn't stop moving, that has a gas tank like no other. So, and from my personal experience, at least in college, bumping up in weight was awesome because, well, I got to eat more, enjoy myself more, and training was so much better. But going down the flyweight, sometimes I have to more think about the weight cut than the actual fight, and that's what causes the problem. My conditioning goes down and all that stuff. So I'm excited to see how he performs.
Yeah, a lot of us are. And getting back to you, we're excited to see this fight. How do you sort of see it unfolding on February 16th?
Because I'm so close to the UFC, I'm going to treat it as a world championship fight. When I was back as an amateur, where we fought 5 times in 1 week, and you had to be as healthy as possible. One way of doing that was finishing the fight as soon as possible. So for me, my last 2 fights, I've been injured. I've missed 6 UFC calls because of injury. One of them, or the 7th one, was because people just don't want to fight me, which is my luck. But I can't get injured again. This is my opportunity, mainly for UFC Chicago. That's the one I really, really want to fight in. Whether I fight in before or that's my debut, I got to finish it as fast as possible. I'm trying to make it a first-round TKO. If not, second, third, fourth, fifth. I'm trying to get the finish, trying to be as healthy as possible, and show that I deserve to be a UFC flyweight.
What are you watching on TV right now during training camp? You getting any Netflix time in it all?
Every once in a while, me and some of the guys just randomly go on the big screen here and just let's watch this show, let's watch that show. Me, mainly during weight cut and then just bringing the weight down, I like to stick to myself. I seclude myself, so I'm watching Flash, Arrow. Me every Saturday, I'm watching Dragon Ball Super, my cartoons, stuff like that. But for me, I'm always watching YouTube videos of fights, whether it's like the best fights of 2017 UFC or boxing, HBO, Showtime. So it's like I'm always naturally studying. I'm on the treadmill, I'm watching fights. I'm in the sauna, I'm watching fights. So just mixing it up.
Excellent. Well, we're certainly looking forward to this fight. It's Titan FC 48. It's coming up here February 16th. Jose, it's always a pleasure chatting up with you. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, for sure. I really appreciate the support. Again, everyone that wants to support me, I always say we can, we will. Together we are Team Shorty. TeamShorty.com. I do sell my apparel, which I'm actually repping and wearing right now. 20% of the earnings actually goes to the kids in my gym so they can travel, compete, and get the same opportunity I did. We actually had a group go down to Missouri, and I was able to sponsor them $200 to be able to go down and train and stuff like that. It's all because of people helping me out as well. So it's really cool that people support. But Twitter, Shorty Torres 125. Facebook, Jose Shorty Torres with quotations around Shorty, and Instagram, Jose Shorty Torres. And actually, if people want to follow, I actually started a technique page of Killer B. It's called Shorty B Technique. Every single week we do a technique each. I do one, Killer B does one, and it's pretty much implementing, short people on the longer, bigger guy, or, the guy that's more muscular, or the guy that's just too long for me to get inside. So we show little techniques like that. It's really cool. So everyone support, and I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.